The morning sun spread across Umuaka like a golden cloth, lighting up the palace walls and the farmlands beyond. Birds sang from the iroko trees, and children ran barefoot through the red dust, laughing as they chased goats. Peace had returned to the kingdom, or so it seemed. Nenah, now queen, walked through the palace gardens dressed in flowing white wrappers, her beaded crown catching the sunlight. Despite the scar on her face, she carried herself with grace. People loved her. They whispered, "Our queen is not only beautiful but strong of heart." Her marriage to King Obinna had brought harmony between rival clans, and the land was prosperous. Farmers boasted of good harvests, traders filled the markets with yams, palm oil, and woven cloth, and the drummers had reason to play almost every evening. Yet not all hearts were at peace. In a small hut at the edge of the village, Ijeoma, the jealous aunt, sat nursing her anger like a hidden flame. Her plan to stop Nenah had failed once. But she was not finished. "The fire did not stop her," she hissed, her voice like a snake sliding over stones. "Then I must find something darker. Something that will make even the king regret his choice." Her eyes gleamed as she pulled a small clay pot from beneath her mat. Inside were strange powders and bones, charms whispered over by a traveling sorcerer. She muttered a curse, her lips moving quickly. "Let the river dry, let the land starve, let her throne shake until it falls." Back in the palace, Nenah felt a sudden chill, though the sun was warm. She touched her scar, her heart uneasy. Queen mothers who sat with her in the courtyard noticed her silence. One of them, old Mama Ifeoma, leaned closer. "My child," she said gently, "sometimes peace does not last unless it is guarded. You must be watchful. Not all eyes that look at you wish you well." Nenah nodded, though she did not fully understand. She tried to push away her worry. After all, life in the palace was busy. She had to settle disputes between market women, hear petitions from farmers, and learn the duties of a queen. But that night the first sign appeared. The sound of drums stopped suddenly in the middle of a festival dance. The ground trembled beneath the people's feet, and a strange wind blew dust into the air. Children cried, and elders whispered of bad omens. When dawn came, the river that fed Umuaka had shrunk, its once strong flow now a trickle. Fish lay dying on the banks, and the women who came with calabashes stood in shock. Without the river, the farmlands would dry, the people would thirst, and hunger would soon follow. The king called his council together. "This is no ordinary drought," he said, his brow furrowed. "Something dark has been released among us." His eyes turned to Nenah, who sat quietly at his side. "And I fear, my queen, that this darkness is tied to you." The words stung, though they were not meant to blame. Nenah clenched her hands together. She remembered Mama Ifeoma's warning, and deep inside she knew. Her aunt was not finished. But what could she do? How could she, a girl once orphaned and scarred, protect a whole kingdom? As night fell, Nenah stood at the palace balcony, staring at the weak shimmer of the moon in the shallow waters of the river. She felt the weight of the people's hope pressing on her shoulders. And in the shadows, hidden from sight, Ijeoma watched, her heart swelling with wicked triumph. The drought was only the beginning. The cries of the villagers grew louder with each passing day. The once busy market was quiet now, its stalls half empty. Traders complained that their yams and cassava shriveled before they could sell them. Hunters returned from the forest empty-handed, muttering that even the animals had fled. Children grew thin, their eyes wide with hunger. Mothers walked long distances searching for water, only to return with calabashes half filled with muddy liquid. The harmony of Umuaka was breaking. Inside the palace, meetings stretched from sunrise to sunset. King Obinna listened as his counselors argued. "This is the anger of the gods," said one elder. "No," another countered. "It is the work of jealous spirits." "Perhaps," a third suggested, lowering his voice, "the gods are angry because of the queen." The hall fell silent. All eyes shifted to Nenah. She sat straight-backed, but her scar burned as if the fire had touched her again. Her heart pounded. King Obinna rose quickly. "Do not speak of my queen so carelessly," he thundered. "She is innocent. She carries no evil." But Nenah could feel the doubt like smoke filling the room. She saw it in the counselor's eyes, in the whispers of the servants, even in the silence of the queen mothers. That evening, Mama Ifioma came to her chamber. The old woman's steps were slow, but her eyes were sharp. She placed a gourd of herbs on the table and sat beside Nenah. "My daughter," she began, "when trouble comes to a community, it is not enough to deny it. You must seek the truth. Your enemies are working in the shadows. If you do nothing, the people will turn against you, and even the king's love will not save you." Nenah swallowed hard. "But what can I do? I am only one woman." Mama Ifioma touched her hand gently. "A woman who has survived fire can survive anything. You must go to the sacred hills. There lives an elder named Ojinoka. He sees what others cannot see. He will guide you. But beware. Your enemy will not rest while you journey." The next morning, Nenah told King Obinna of her decision. "I will not sit here while my people suffer," she said firmly. "I must find the root of this darkness." At first, the king resisted. "The path to the sacred hills is long and filled with danger. Bandits roam there, and the forest is full of spirits. I cannot let you go." But Nenah lifted her chin. "If I am to be queen, I must carry the burden of my people. Their thirst is my thirst. Their hunger is my hunger. Let me go, my king." The king looked into her eyes and saw the same courage that had carried her through fire. Slowly he nodded. "Then go, but not alone. Take warriors with you. Take blessings. And remember, my heart goes with you." As Nenah prepared for her journey, whispers ran through the village. Some said she was brave, others said she was foolish. And far away, in her hidden hut, Igioma heard the news. The jealous aunt's lips curved into a thin smile. "So she dares to seek answers," she muttered, pouring more powder into her clay pot. "Then let her walk into the forest. Let her walk into fear. This time, not even the king will find her." That night, as Nenah tied her wrapper and prepared for dawn, she felt the wind shift. Somewhere beyond the palace walls, danger was waiting for her first step. The morning of Nenah's departure came with a pale sun, its light weak against the heavy clouds that had gathered above Umuoka. Villagers lined the palace gates to watch their queen set out. Some sang softly to give her courage. Others whispered, uncertain if she would return. Nenah wore a simple wrapper of blue and white, beads at her neck, and carried a small leather bag with food and herbs. Two warriors, tall and strong, stood by her side. The king placed his hand on her shoulder. "Remember," he said quietly, "the path to the sacred hills is long. Trust no stranger too quickly. And return to me, for I will wait for you." Nenah nodded, her eyes steady though her heart trembled. She touched his hand one last time and stepped forward. The gates opened and the journey began. The first days were calm. The road stretched wide, bordered by tall grasses and palm trees. Birds chirped, and the warriors spoke in low tones, keeping her spirits high. At night they made fires, telling stories of old battles and trickster spirits. But on the third day the forest grew thicker. The path narrowed, and strange cries echoed from the shadows. The air smelled damp, heavy with mystery. Nenah felt the weight of unseen eyes watching them. That evening, as they camped near a stream, a young boy appeared. He looked no older than 10, with bright eyes and a torn wrapper. He carried a small calabash and limped slightly as he approached. "Please," he begged, his voice trembling. "I am lost. Bandits attacked my village. My family, they are gone. Let me stay with you. Just for the night." The warriors frowned. One muttered, "This could be a trick." But Nenah's heart ached. She remembered her own childhood, her parents gone, her aunt's cruelty. She stepped forward and placed a hand on the boy's shoulder. "You may stay. No child should wander alone in the dark." That night, as the fire crackled, the boy sat close to her, asking questions. "Where are you going? Why do you travel so far? Nenah smiled gently. I go to seek wisdom for my people. The boy's eyes gleamed strangely in the firelight. He whispered, Then you must be careful. Not everyone who smiles at you wishes you well. The words struck her, but before she could respond, the boy curled up and slept. In the middle of the night, Nenah awoke suddenly. The fire had burned low, and the boy was gone. She sat up, her heart racing. Then she noticed something. Her leather bag was missing. The bag that held food, herbs, and the small charms Mama Ifioma had given her for protection. The warriors leapt to their feet, searching the darkness, but the boy had vanished without a trace. One warrior spat angrily. I warned you, my queen. Spirits wear many faces. That boy was no child. He was a trickster. Nenah's chest tightened. She had been fooled by pity. She thought of her people, thirsty and hungry, waiting for her to bring back answers. And now she had lost the charms meant to protect her. She clenched her fists, her scar burning hot as though it remembered the fire. Then we will continue without them, she said, her voice firm. Let the trickster think he has won. My heart will not fail. But deep in the forest, far from their camp, the boy sat beneath a tree, his bright eyes glowing unnaturally. He opened the leather bag and laughed softly. The queen is kind, but kindness can be her weakness. And as he laughed, a shadowy figure stepped from the trees. Nenah's aunt Igioma. She bent low and whispered, Good. You have done well. Now, let us see if she survives without her protection. The forest stirred, alive with danger. Nenah's first trial had only just begun. Every step Nenah took seemed to echo with whispers. The tall Irako trees bent over the path, their branches creaking in the wind like voices calling her name. Her two warriors walked ahead, their spears ready, but even their confidence was wearing thin. The stolen charms weighed heavily on Nenah's mind. She wondered if Mama Ifioma had foreseen this betrayal. Still she refused to turn back. By midday, they reached a clearing where the ground was littered with feathers and bones. A smell of rot clung to the air. Nenah's stomach tightened. Suddenly, the forest grew silent. Too silent. No bird sang, no insect buzzed. The warriors froze. Something is here, one whispered. A low growl rumbled from the shadows. Then, from between the trees, a massive black leopard stepped forward, its eyes glowing like embers. Its sleek body moved with deadly grace, muscles rippling beneath its skin. Nenah's breath caught in her throat. This was no ordinary animal. This was a guardian spirit, twisted by dark magic. She remembered Mama Ifioma's warning. Your enemy will not rest while you journey. The leopard circled them, its growl deepening. One warrior raised his spear, but Nenah lifted her hand. Wait, she whispered. If this is a spirit, our spears may not save us. She stepped forward, her voice shaking but firm. Spirit of the forest, she called. We mean no harm. We seek wisdom to save our people. Let us pass. The leopard paused, its eyes fixed on her. For a moment silence hung heavy. Then it lunged. The warriors shouted, thrusting their spears, but the leopard moved too quickly, knocking one to the ground. The other swung his blade, but it barely grazed the spirit's skin. Nenah's heart pounded. She searched the ground desperately, and her eyes fell on a gourd of water one warrior had dropped. She remembered something Mama Ifioma once said. Even the fiercest fire bows to water if poured with truth. Grabbing the gourd, Nenah ran forward. The leopard leapt again, its jaws wide. With a cry, she threw the water directly into its face. The liquid shimmered strangely in the air, glowing as it touched the leopard's fur. The beast screamed, its roar shaking the trees. It stumbled backward, thrashing wildly before vanishing into smoke that curled upward and dissolved into the sky. The clearing fell silent once more. The warriors stared at her, wide-eyed. My queen, one breathed. How did you know? Nenah wiped sweat from her brow, her hands trembling. I did not know, she admitted softly. I only trusted what my heart remembered. The warriors bowed low, respect shining in their eyes. But Nenah's relief was short-lived. For even as the leopard's smoke faded, a voice whispered through the trees, low and mocking. "Clever girl," it hissed. "But this is only the beginning. Every step you take brings you closer to the darkness I have set before you." Nenah froze, her blood running cold. She knew that voice. It was her aunt Igioma. The warriors glanced around, weapons raised, but the forest showed no sign of her. Only the echo of her laughter drifted through the trees, chilling Nenah's bones. Her scar burned again, as if the flames of the past had found her. She clenched her fists. "If it is you, aunt," she whispered to the air, "then know this: fire did not destroy me, and neither will your shadows." Still, her heart was heavy. The river was drying, her people were suffering, and now she faced an enemy who knew every weakness of her heart. And she was only halfway to the sacred hills. The forest grew lighter as they moved on, the trees thinning until the land rolled into hills dotted with tall grasses. For the first time in days, Nenah could see the wide sky above her. But instead of comfort, it filled her with unease. Dark clouds were gathering, heavy and swollen, though no rain had fallen in Umuaka for weeks. By evening they reached the foot of the sacred hills. The climb was steep, the rocks sharp beneath their feet. Nenah's legs trembled with exhaustion, but her determination pushed her forward. Each step reminded her of the faces of thirsty children back home, of mothers carrying empty calabashes, of her people waiting for hope. At the top, a small hut stood, smoke curling from its thatched roof. An old man sat outside, his beard white as cotton, his eyes sharp as eagle claws. This was Ojinaka, the seer Mama Ifioma had spoken of. Nenah bowed low. "Wise elder, I have come seeking truth. My people suffer. The river dries, the land withers. Tell me what has caused this darkness." Ojinaka studied her silently, his gaze falling to the scar on her face. He nodded slowly, as though it told him everything. "Daughter of fire," he said at last, "you carry both pain and strength. The river does not dry on its own. Someone has bound it with wickedness." Nenah's chest tightened. "I feared as much. My aunt Igioma, she has sworn to destroy me. Is she the cause?" The old man stirred the ashes of his fire with a stick, sending sparks into the air. "Yes, your aunt has tied the river's spirit with dark charms. But you must know this. Her power does not come from jealousy alone. She has made a covenant with Azimuo, the river demon. As long as her heart feeds him with envy, his chains will hold the water back." Nenah's breath caught. "A demon? Then how can I free the river?" Ojinaka's eyes grew grave. "Only truth stronger than envy can break the chains. You must go to the river's source, deep within the Forbidden Valley. There you will face Azimuo himself. If you falter, the river will vanish forever, and your people will perish." The words struck like thunder. One warrior gasped. The other muttered, "To face a demon, that is certain death." Nenah lifted her chin, though fear churned in her belly. "If I do not go, my people will die anyway. Better I face death than let my kingdom waste away." Ojinaka studied her again, then reached into his hut. He returned with a staff carved from sacred Irako wood. Strange symbols glowed faintly along its length. He placed it in Nenah's hands. "This staff holds the memory of water. Strike it upon the ground, and it will reveal truth. But beware, truth is a double-edged blade. It will show you what you wish to see, and also what you fear to know." Nenah gripped the staff tightly, her heart pounding. She bowed again. "Thank you, wise one. I will not waste this gift." The old man leaned close, his voice dropping. "And remember, your aunt's hatred is strong, but it is not the deepest danger. The demon feeds not only on envy, but also on doubt. If you doubt yourself, he will win." The warning echoed in Nenah's mind long after they left the hut. That night, as they camped at the edge of the valley, she dreamed of fire again. She saw her aunt holding the torch, laughing, But then the flames shifted into the face of a great black river, its mouth opening wide to swallow her. She woke with a cry, sweat soaking her wrapper. Her scar burned hotter than ever, as though it too knew what awaited. She clutched the staff to her chest. "I will not fail," she whispered to the night. "For if I do, all is lost." But deep in the valley, by the chained waters of the river's source, Ezimuo stirred, his laughter rumbling like distant thunder. And beside him, Igioma poured powders into the stream, her eyes glowing with envy's fire. The journey into the Forbidden Valley was unlike anything Nenah had faced before. The air was heavy, thick with the smell of damp earth and rotting leaves. Strange cries echoed through the trees, though no bird or beast could be seen. The two warriors at her side gripped their spears tightly, their eyes darting at every rustle. Even their courage seemed to shrink in this place. But Nenah pressed forward, the Irako staff glowing faintly in her hand, guiding her steps. At last, they reached the source of the great river, or what was left of it. Instead of rushing waters, a cracked bed stretched before them. Pools of stagnant water lay trapped in hollows, green and foul. At the very center, a stone altar rose, covered with black chains that slithered like living snakes. And from those chains a figure emerged. His body was shaped like a man, but his skin was dark as midnight, and his eyes glowed like embers. His voice was like a flood crashing through a canyon. "I am Ezimuo, keeper of waters, eater of envy, master of chains. Why do you come, scarred child?" The ground trembled under his words. The warriors staggered back, their knees shaking. Nenah stood firm, though fear clawed at her. She raised the staff. "I come to free my people. You hold our river bound with evil. Release it, or I will strike you with truth." The demon laughed, a deep, booming sound that sent ripples through the stagnant pools. "Truth. Foolish girl. Truth is pain. Truth is weakness. You dare raise a stick against me." Before Nenah could answer, another voice rang out. "Do not waste your breath on her, mighty Ezimuo. She is nothing but a broken girl pretending to be queen." Nenah froze. Out from behind the altar stepped Igioma, her aunt, her face twisted with triumph. Around her neck hung a charm of cowries and bones, glowing with sickly green light. "You!" Nenah hissed, her scar burning like fire. "Yes, me," Igioma sneered. "Did you think marriage into a palace could protect you? Did you think love could heal what I burned? No, Nenah. You were marked the night I set you aflame. And now, with Ezimuo's power, I will finish what I started." The demon's eyes blazed. "Her envy feeds me well. But your fear smells sweeter. Give in, child. Drop the staff. Kneel, and perhaps I will let your people live as slaves under thirst." Nenah's heart pounded. The staff in her hands grew hot, the carvings glowing brighter. She struck it upon the cracked earth. The ground shook. Light shot up, and in the shimmering glow she saw visions. Her people digging at dry wells, children crying for water, mothers weeping into empty pots. Her knees buckled. The weight of their suffering crushed her chest. Her eyes blurred with tears. "You see," the demon thundered. "The truth breaks you. You are too weak to save them." Igioma's laughter sliced the air. "You will never win, Nenah. You were always beneath me, and you always will be." Nenah's grip faltered. For a moment she believed them. She saw herself not as queen, but as the little girl scarred by fire, forever broken, forever less than others. The warriors cried out, "My queen! Do not give in." But even their voices felt far away. The demon spread his arms wide, chains rattling, his laughter shaking the valley. The pools darkened, bubbling like boiling tar. Igioma raised her charm, chanting words that twisted the air. Nenah's strength slipped away. The staff dimmed. Her legs gave out and she fell to her knees. Her lowest moment had come. And the demon leaned closer, whispering like poison. "Say the words, child. Admit you are nothing. Then I will end this suffering." The chains coiled tighter. The air grew heavy. Nenah's breath came shallow. Seemed all was lost. Nenah knelt in the dust of the valley floor, her hands trembling, the staff dim in her grip. Igioma's cruel laughter echoed, and Izimuo's voice pressed against her spirit like a crushing weight. "You are nothing," the demon whispered again, chains slithering closer. For a moment the words sank deep. She almost believed them. But then, like a cool wind through a hot desert, came another sound. It was faint, but it stirred her heart. She heard it as though carried on the wind, though no wind blew in that cursed valley. Lullaby. The very one her mother used to sing when she was small and frightened of the dark. Her eyes filled with tears. She remembered lying in her mother's lap, the soft humming wrapping around her like a blanket, making her believe she was safe, loved, chosen. The staff in her hand pulsed, the carvings glowing faintly once more. Izimuo growled, his ember eyes narrowing. "What trick is this? Who sings?" The warriors gasped, for they too heard the melody, though faint. It was as if the very earth hummed the tune, carrying it up from the roots of the world. Nenah rose slowly, her scar burning hot, but her spirit burning hotter. She lifted the staff high. "I am not nothing. I am Nenah, daughter of the land, child of the river, queen of my people. You cannot break me." The demon roared, chains snapping forward like serpents. Igioma shrieked, waving her charm. "Stop her! Stop her!" But the staff flared with light, brighter than the noonday sun. The chains hissed as they touched it, recoiling like snakes from fire. The lullaby grew louder, filling the valley, as though the spirits of her ancestors themselves were singing. The pools rippled, light sparking in their depths. Izimuo staggered back, his form flickering. "No. This power is forbidden." "It is not forbidden," Nenah cried, her voice strong and clear. "It is truth. And truth is not weakness. Truth is strength." She slammed the staff upon the earth. A great crack split the ground. From deep within, water surged forth, rushing like a mighty flood, breaking through the chains, washing over the valley. The warriors shouted in triumph, raising their spears. The river had returned. But even as the water burst forth, Izimuo did not fall. He grew taller, his form twisting with rage, shadows pouring from him like smoke. And Igioma, drenched but still clutching her charm, screamed above the roar of the flood. "No, Nenah. You may have broken the chains, but you cannot break me. I will never stop until your face and your crown are mine." Her charm glowed brighter, pulsing with unholy power. She leapt upon the altar, chanting with a voice not her own. Dark energy spiraled into the sky, swirling above them like a storm. Izimuo's laughter returned, thunderous and terrifying. "Yes, feed me more, woman. Together, we will drown her and her people in despair." The waters raged around them, but instead of washing away the evil, the storm seemed to grow stronger. Nenah gripped the staff tighter. Her heart pounded. She had freed the river, yes, but the battle was not yet won. She looked at Igioma standing on the altar, her eyes burning with madness, her face twisted with envy. And she knew, this final fight would decide everything. The floodwaters swirled, the storm darkened, and the valley shook as if the earth itself waited for the outcome. Nenah raised the staff once more, the lullaby still echoing in her ears. The time had come for the final showdown. The valley was a battlefield of light and darkness. The waters Nenah had freed surged wildly, but the storm Igioma summoned fought against them, twisting the flood into whirlpools of shadow. Lightning cracked across the sky, not white but blood-red, striking the pools and boiling the water. The warriors stood frozen, watching the two women, queen and traitor, face one another. Even King Obinna could not move. His breath caught in his chest. Nenah lifted the staff, its light flickering as though struggling to hold against the storm. Her scar burned painfully, but she stood tall. "Igioma," she cried, her voice ringing across the valley. "Why do you let envy consume you? Why can't you see? Your hatred will destroy us all." Igioma's face twisted with rage. "Destroy us? Well, it will destroy you. You, the ugly orphan who stole the throne that should have been mine. She raised her charm, chanting louder. The storm swirled into a great black funnel, pulling at the waters, the rocks, even the very air. Azimuo's form towered within the storm, laughing, feeding on her rage. Nenah's knees trembled, but she remembered the lullaby. Her mother's song. The voice of love, not hate. She pressed the staff to her heart and whispered, I will not fight her with hate. I will fight her with truth. Then she sang. Her voice was soft at first, barely rising above the roar of the storm. But the lullaby carried, clear and pure. The warriors gasped. King Obina's eyes filled with tears. The very waters seemed to still, listening. Zimuo shrieked. No, that song. Silence her. Ijeoma faltered, her chanting stumbling. The charm dimmed slightly. She clutched it tighter, screaming, No, I will not listen. But Nenah's song grew stronger. She raised the staff high, and the lullaby poured forth like light. The carvings blazed, beams of brilliance shooting into the sky. The black funnel quivered, its coils unraveling. The waters surged, now clear and bright, washing against the altar. The chains of shadow snapped apart, crumbling into dust. Ijeoma screamed, fighting to keep hold of her charm. But the storm around her broke apart, piece by piece, until only she and Azimuo remained. The demon roared, his form flickering wildly. Weak. Worthless. I need more, he bellowed, clutching at Ijeoma's spirit. For the first time, fear flashed in her eyes. She saw the truth. The demon had never cared for her. She was nothing but a vessel to him. No, she cried, trying to pull away. But Azimuo wrapped around her like smoke. You gave yourself to me. Now you are mine. Nenah stepped forward, staff blazing. Not while I live. With all her strength, she drove the staff into the ground. A wave of light shot outward, wrapping around Ijeoma and Azimuo. The lullaby thundered like 1,000 voices singing as one. Azimuo shrieked, his form tearing apart in the blaze. I will return. Darkness never dies. His voice echoed as he dissolved into nothing, leaving only silence. The charm in Ijeoma's hand shattered into dust. The waters stilled, gleaming under a calm sky. The valley was quiet once more. Ijeoma collapsed on the altar, trembling. Her face was wet with tears. She looked at Nenah, her lips shaking. Why? Why save me? After all I did to you, why? Nenah lowered the staff, her voice soft. Because hate only destroys. And I will not let it destroy me, or you. The warriors fell to their knees, bowing to their queen. King Obina rushed forward, taking Nenah's hand, pride shining in his eyes. You are more than a queen. You are the heart of this land. The river roared anew, clear and strong, flowing freely down the valley. The drought was broken. Crops would grow again, children would drink, and life would return. Ijeoma wept bitterly. Her envy burned away by shame. She begged for mercy, and though she could not undo her crimes, Nenah spared her, sending her away from the kingdom to live humbly and learn repentance. Peace returned to the land. Harmony was restored. And Nenah, once the orphan girl with a scarred face, now stood not only as a bride of the king but as the savior of her people. Moral of the story. Envy blinds the heart and opens the door to destruction. But love, truth, and forgiveness have the power to heal even the deepest wounds.